Okay, here's a demo of the Milkman, the Amp 50. I was looking for another Class D compact amp that I could run for some live shows in a stereo rig. I played the tube amp combo version of this and really enjoyed it with the reverb and the trim function. But I hadn't really seen any demos of something being played loud with pedals and a bunch of modulation through it. So figured I would put something together to show you what this can really do. And after a couple hours, really impressed with it. I typically use that quilter over there, the Overdrive 202 on the clean channel. In a similar way, the Overdrive 202 is a 200 watt output into 408 ohms. The Milkman is a 50 watt output into 8 ohms, 100 watt into 4 ohms. So the power scaling is a little different. The way that they react is a little different, but the Milkman stays a little cleaner, has better reverb and trim, and they take pedals about the same so far. I've been playing them quiet and loud, trying to figure out how they react. The Milkman does seem to get a little more compressed. The Overdrive 202 has a mids knob, which brings out a little more mids unless you really mess with the EQ on the Milkman or have some pedals with a lot of mids to them. So I'm going to be playing out of this Hiwatt 412 loaded with 4 Fane 150 watt speakers, playing a Gibson Les Paul Classic 50s Gold Top. Right now I'm just in a drop D tuning and going through the pedal board that you see on the ground here into the Milkman, into the cap. So right now, that is running at 4 ohms with the master about 75% of the way open. The gain, a third of the way up. Bass maxed and the treble about 7 out of 10. No reverb and no trim yet. I'm going to turn the reverb on, roll through the reverb setting, and then I'm going to turn the trim on as well. And then now I'm going to do the same thing. The master is 75% of the way up. Bass is maxed. Treble is at 7 out of 10. Gain is at 1/3. I'm going to use some delay and reverb from my board first. Then I'm going to throw some gain pedals into it. It reacts really well. Now I'm going to run some pedals with it. I'll probably stick with 3 more ubiquitous pedals. The Arc Effects Soothsayer, which is just a modded rat. I'm going to be using the no clipping setting on that. And Earthquaker Devices Westwood, which is on the bottom row right next to the Soothsayer right there. And then an Earthquaker Devices Blumes, which is right here in all black, which is like a bass tube screamer-ish style pedal. All going to be pushing the front end. Once again, no reverb on the Milkman, no trim on the Milkman, and I'll turn the reverb on with my hand punching motion when it comes on the amp. I'm going to push the gain from about a third to maybe 6 out of 10 and run some pedals with it again. I feel like that's where this tube compression really kicks in a sweet spot if you have this thing pretty opened up to run with pedals. I could see this being a really good solution for some fly-in gigs if you like a cleaner pedal platform type of amp, similar to like a Hiwatt if you boost the low end on a Hiwatt, or if you run an Ampeg V4 semi-conservatively and without the bass maxed out. Doesn't have quite as much bass as like a V4 would have, but with only the treble and bass EQ, I can get it pretty close to where I like it. I'm sure if I was playing out of another cab, if I had another cab link to this one, I'd be really happy. Or if this is one half of my stereo image live, I'd also be really happy. I bought this in hopes of using it as an at-home rig, just to play some clean stuff with reverb and trem out of a 112 speaker cab. And honestly, I'm really impressed. Never was into Milkman or talked to anybody at the company before, but I'm going to be more than happy to have this for just a small 50 watts 112 upstairs living room rig, and know that if I want to bring this to a band practice or run it for half of some of my gain amp stereo side, I'd be really happy. So I'm going to push this gain up on the preamp side of the Milkman, keep everything else where it was, and turn some more pedals on. So you hear the gain scale a little bit, you'll hear everything else come on with it. Once again, that's gain 6 out of 10. Master about 75. This is at 4 ohms going into this Hiwatt cab. I'm going to crank the gain on it just because I don't see any demos of it being played in a loud setting. The gain cranked. I think it sounds pretty good. You can get some classic-y tones with it. You can boost it a little bit, but it still stays pretty spongy in a nice way. Yeah, hope that helps some people who might want to pick one of these up to play it really loud or to see how it takes pedals. I'm really pumped about it. I imagine the 200 watt one would scale a little better and bring in a little more low end. And the boost would get you some more gain. But I'm really happy with having this as a cleaner side and like the reverb on it as well. Yeah, thanks.